All right. Well, to understand beliefs, thoughts, and emotions, we have to understand a lot about the brain and how it works. What is Nobody has all the answers to how the mind works. There's still a lot to learn. Researchers have learned an awful lot over the last 20 years, but there's still a lot more to learn. And thankfully, with the information that is available now, it can really benefit us. What I'll be doing during this series is summarizing how I understand this so far. I know it's tempting to want to forget all this. At least I think so. So today, we're going to look at the three levels of mind: subconscious, preconscious, and conscious. Um, these parts of the brain evolved different times in our history, and they do very different things. All right. So the much older non-conscious part of the brain is like your computer operating system. It's responsible for running our automatic body processes and habits. It processes information from your senses, stores and retrieves data and memories of everything that's happened to you and everything you've learned over your lifetime. Just think of it as a very powerful computer. And it makes sure you respond and react the way you're programmed to by bringing up thoughts, emotions, and feelings. It assures your survival and the survival of our species by alerting us to threats and keeping us in what's called the preservation zone, also known as the comfort zone. But it isn't always very comfortable, so I like the term preservation zone better. It does this by bringing up thoughts, emotions, and feelings that get you to act or not act in certain ways. Right? It rewards you with a burst of feel-good chemicals like dopamine or serotonin when you do pleasurable things that keep you and the species alive, like eating or buying something you want or bonding with your loved ones. And it makes it emotionally or physically painful to move toward what it thinks is dangerous by flooding your system with stress hormones. Right? These fears can be really helpful, right? We don't want to walk into a fire, so this fear response alerts us that it isn't safe. But often what's problematic are those social fears, like being afraid to speak up for yourself or trying something new that you'd really like to try. And these fears may have benefited us as a child, they may have kept us safe as a child, but they don't benefit us too much now that we're adults. So that's the subconscious mind. Here in the back, middle of your head, you have your brain. The conscious mind, the prefrontal cortex, stores and retrieves those thoughts and memories, feelings, and hopes that you can be aware of. Okay? It's part of the brain that thinks. It can be rational, objective, and logical. It can dream of you being different and doing things differently. It can problem solve, make decisions, and it can create new things, right? You can be creative, you can do art, play music that you don't know automatically, all new things. Right? The preconscious mind, that is subconscious part of the mind that you can access. It's just below the surface. So every once in a while you might say to yourself, oh, I forgot all about that, right? It comes up and you remember it. So, should have had my picture, but if you imagine an iceberg, the tip, the part above the water, that's the conscious mind. It's what you're aware of, right? What you have some control over. The preconscious mind would be just below the surface of the water. You know, if you look down at the iceberg, you can see part of it down there. And then the huge part of the iceberg that's hidden from view, that's the parts of your brain that are non-conscious, right? So it's important to keep in mind that all parts are powerful, but the subconscious is the most powerful. It directs your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors 90 to 95% of the time. I know that doesn't seem possible. We're thinking. But a lot of times we're just acting from our programming. You know, of the 12 to 60,000 thoughts you have every day, most of them are subconscious. Your emotional reactions, they're subconscious too. You don't even have to be aware of the thoughts behind those reactions. Right? The reasons the subconscious mind is more powerful than the conscious mind is that it's faster and more efficient because it has automatic processes. They're habitual. It can react before you consciously are even aware of what's happening. Right? This is because information comes in from the environment, right, through your senses. You hear, you see, maybe you touch. It's processed by the subconscious, and then it has to travel over 150 feet of neural network. You know, the neural highway, the nerve highway in your brain to get to the conscious mind. Well, in that time that message is traveling, your subconscious has already had a chance to act. It might only be a fraction of a second, but that's all the time you need. And then you're saying to yourself, oh no, what did I do that for? Right? So these two parts of the brain, conscious and unconscious, they do communicate with each other, especially when you're relaxed. You know, for example, our greatest moments of inspiration often just pop from our subconscious, right? We're taking a shower, it's kind of relaxing or getting ready to go to sleep, and all of a sudden you get these great ideas. So, and another thing that's interesting is that even though the subconscious parts of the brain are bigger and more powerful, it can still take orders from the conscious mind. Like you can decide to hold your breath. Usually the breath is controlled by the subconscious. You don't have to think about it, but you can decide to think about it. And that's what makes the breath such an important factor in healing work. We'll get to that more later. You know, or you can decide to move your arm. I made a choice of moving my arm. That was conscious. Everything that's happening to move that arm is subconscious, but I made the choice to move it. Right? I can choose to change my emotional state. You know, I can choose to calm my emotions, or I can choose to amp them up by my thoughts. Right? And you can retrain your subconscious mind to have more desirable habits and thought patterns that can lead to better feeling thoughts, emotions, and experiences. And I'm really excited to share some of these messages with you a little bit later in the series. I think even in the next one we'll start. And to quickly recap. So the subconscious mind is that powerful automatic operating system of the brain that runs below your level of awareness, yet has the power to direct most of your thoughts, emotions, feelings, and behaviors. The conscious mind is the part that allows you to think, problem solve, and make new choices. And the preconscious is the bridge between the two. It's unconscious, but sometimes brings its treasures into your awareness.